When you think about Melrose's incredible products, oftentimes you're thinking about home decor, you're thinking about the botanicals, you're thinking about the wreaths, you're thinking about all of the collections that we present to you each season. But do you know what the number one selling product happens to be at Melrose International? It's Fia Flame. Do you know what the number two selling product is at Melrose International? It's Fia Flame. We have 6 different Fia Flames available for sale here at Melrose, and when we think about all of the ways to present them and all the ways to sell them, there's a reason they're very successful for retailers. I'm very lucky to be here today with Doug, and he is going to share with us his knowledge about Fia Flame, because in his territories where he works, they sell a lot of the Fia Flame, and it's the top selling item for them. They sell it heavier there than other places, and I think a lot of that has to do with the knowledge that you have about Fia Flame.
And enthusiasm.
And enthusiasm.
Yeah,
You definitely
yeah.
have the enthusiasm there.
Yep.
Tell me a little bit about what you find that works the best for your retailers.
Sure. And then again, I talked about enthusiasm. I've been selling products like this in a competitive product for, gosh, it's been 4 years now. And I actually talked to Melrose about sourcing this product, and then they did a great job. We got it at a great price point and with variety and color and size. And so I think we have a really nice offering for customers. Retailers can be very successful with this product. I love to present it to them, and I love to give them some ideas about how they can use it in their store, save some money on batteries, and how they
We all want that.
and also just the maintenance of the floor. It's a rechargeable product. Oftentimes it's a struggle for staff to pull and recharge and get them out on the floor, and I've got some ideas about how that can be easier
and
for
the
retailers
remote.
as well.
I mean, the remote is
Yep.
really key for Fia Flame too, because it's so easy to use and it's so easy for customers to pick up on.
Yep, for sure. And that's one of the ideas about in the store. If you keep your product plugged in, and I'll show you how to do that, you're going to save a lot of time and make it easy to shut down the store, turn off the Fia Flame, and in the morning get them on as well, so your customers can see that working.
We've gathered some things here to talk about when we're talking about the Fia Flame. So let's just kind of get into this, and let's talk about if this was a store display, or if, let's say, a customer were able to walk into a retailer and then they were to present this for the first time for them. How do you get started?
Sure. One of my thoughts about Fia Flame is, you need to have them, going in your store. Sometimes it's nice to get them in a place where it's a little bit dimmer. If you have some bright lights, LED lights in a certain area, sometimes maybe just unscrew and make it a little darker in that area where you're going to be showing
That's what we
Fia
did
Flame.
here.
Yep.
We just took them and just dimmed them and undid the lights. Just did a little while ago
Exactly.
and just made sure it's nice and dark.
Yeah, they're going to be much more dramatic, and it doesn't need to be super dark, but certainly a bright light shining on the product is going to be difficult for customers to see how dramatic it can be for them.
Sure.
Let me just talk about an example of this. So we've had LED candle products in the line for obviously a number of years. I just put 2 identical little holders here, tea light holders. The candle is really a nice presentation of that candle holder. But you can see that with Fia Flame, and it's our new small size that we have in there that fits in all of our tea light holders. It creates a much more dramatic presentation. You can see much more light. Both have action, but it just shows the difference in there.
And the action just seems to be, it represents the true candlelight.
Yep. As long as we're here, one thing that I'll just kind of show as well is the color choices. We have Fia Flame in the amber, and we also have it in white. This particular tea light holder happens to be white. When you have the amber light, it doesn't necessarily show that way. How dramatically different that becomes.
Right.
So this is kind of a mercury glass look tea light holder. I tend to find that a lot of things that are in our holiday line are going to be glass, and white, not universally, but tends to be a prettier, better presentation in the glass pieces. You can see that there.
We have customers that come in for holiday and they only buy white. That they do complete displays that they're only going to use the white, they're only going to use the shimmer and the shine, and that's the kind of thing that we want to pick up on.
Yep. And I have customers who will say, I just want white. And one of the things I say to them is, get a little bit of both. If you like white, maybe order more of those. And it just sort of depends on the vessel you're going to put them in. Here again is the larger version of that. I mentioned, in your store and when you're doing displays, that there's a 30-hour battery life in Fia Flame. And when those run out, they need to be recharged in the store. And sometimes that means you're going to have fixtures that are not going to be showing the product for your customer. One of the solutions there would be to keep that item plugged in if you can. So if you have it
nice.
near on the wall, get a longer charging cable, which you can get on Amazon at a very reasonable price. Some people said to me, well, how do you do that in a glass candle holder? So this piece is plugged in. It's not, you can keep it plugged in all the time. If you do that, you never have to recharge it. Your timer works every time the same day. But the best part is you can just wander with the store with your remote control, turn them off and on just by walking through the store.
So you can put these on a mantle or a shelf that's up high, something even around your checkout register or somewhere around there, so people go, oh, what is that? What's that extra thing that I want to add to my order right now? And so this would be a great way to have a higher display in the store.
You can go high.
And then they're never going to see that cord.
Exactly.
Right now, it's very difficult for you to see. And how did you do that?
Yeah, so one thing you do on the glass, obviously you can't drill a hole or make a hole there. So basically just a paper clip. And this happens to be a rubber coated one, which is nice because you're not scratch the glass or any accents to the glass. So you basically run the cord, up the back, spread a paper clip out, slip it over that cord, run it down, and then plug it in. So you can keep that plugged in all the time. It eliminates a lot of hassle for the store staff in terms of keeping the product going. Here's another great example.
But you touched on something though. You got to keep it going. It doesn't do any good to have it in the store and then have it turned off. Right. And so we have to have it on in order to sell it.
Yeah. The fact that it's rechargeable and has a 30-hour battery life is a great feature. When it comes to the retailer and even for the consumer at home, if it's near a wall and they can sort of hide that cord in this fashion or a different fashion, it actually becomes easier to own if you can keep it plugged in. Don't need to, but it's a nice option.
Kind of started talking about the timers, and you've got me hooked on it. I have to say, I worked for Melrose for 1.5 years, and I didn't have mine set on the timers, and I didn't keep mine plugged in. And you said, go ahead and order those longer cords, keep it plugged in, hide your cord, and then every night it comes on, you never have to worry about recharging it. It's plugged into the wall, and then when you get off work, they're on, they're ready to go, the ambiance is already set, and it turns itself off maybe after I've had a couple of glasses of wine. So it just automatically turns off and is ready to go.
When we had a previous conversation, I tell a lot of people this. I've got several in my home. I love the product. I think it really adds a lot of great ambiance in the evening at home. The timer's a great feature. Here's how I sort of put it. I loved owning these more at home once I kept them plugged in.
Really?
That doesn't mean, I do use them in the battery. Don't want to take it out on the patio table or whatever. But if I have them plugged in all the time, I used to set mine for 5 o'clock. It's almost like a cuckoo clock or whatever. If I can glance, and if it's not running yet, I know it's not 5 o'clock. If it's running, I know it's 5 o'clock, and then off it'll go, at bedtime. So.
And I do mine in the fall. I know you can use them year round, but I do find that I like to set my hours differently when it starts to get dark earlier. And I like to change that a little bit. And I just run around and I change them with my timer real quick. But you said something to me, maybe even 1.5 years ago about, Leanne, you've got to have them in your home and you've got to be using them yourself in order to really understand them and be able to sell them in the store. Because if you don't do it yourself and you're not using it yourself and you're not seeing all these features, it's hard to understand what it really adds to your lifestyle.
Yeah, no, I agree, and I think make sure you have them at home. Make sure you understand the features. If you have staff, give them the opportunity to take it home and experience it and have it for a period of time, so they understand the features. And to me, that builds enthusiasm and the ability to talk to customers about it.
Sure.
You talked about in the store. It's good to have them around the store. It's good to have at least a couple close to the register area because it's a product where some customer will look at it and you can talk about how it works. And if you engage them in how it works and how you can use it at home, keep it plugged in if you can, all those features, it just to me makes a better selling opportunity for the product.
I always think seeing the remote too. So I've seen it. We just had a store and they had it sitting out, and I couldn't find the Fia, but I saw the remote in the store, and so they didn't know I worked with Melrose or anything like that. And I said, oh, you've got Fia Flame. And they said, yes, how do you know? I said, well, I see the remote. So sometimes the remote is of interest too, to make sure that that's by the register so it's easy for them to pick up. And then of course it's like the old sales analogy that if you hold the puppy's going home with you.
Yeah, and some people don't even know that everyone comes with a remote in the box, which I think is great at the price point we're offering these at. You can actually increase and decrease the brightness of the product, and a lot of people really don't know that. And of course, the timer we already talked about. We have a 2 up to 8 hour timer, and that all runs on the remote. And again, that remote comes in the box for you. So
and then if you're like me, you also lay them down around in your house, so it's nice to have one that comes with every one of your candles because I move them from room to room.
Yeah. So Fia's engineered in such a way. Number one, it has a hanging bracket on it. But what's really neat about this is when you flip it over, the flame will flip up as well. So you get more light at the bottom and more dark at the top. So well engineered in that way as well.
Fantastic.
I think most
And
people
magnetic.
do know, and magnetic on the bottom. So if you have a metal bottom on a lantern, that magnet will pull that right in place. They look obviously prettier if they're centered, in the vessel.
Well, let's talk a little bit about, we're bringing in more and more vessels. We said the laser cut is something that we are looking for, especially as stores and as sales reps. Let's head down to the Home and Garden showroom and take a look at some of the new laser cut candle holders and lanterns we brought in just for this season, just to feature the Fia Flame.
Yep, sure have.
Now here we are in the Home and Garden showroom with Modern Invitation, where everything is trending, everything is beautiful and contemporary. The styling is here. We see a lot of the black colors. We see a lot of the gold that's picking this up. We've turned the lamps off. We've turned the lights down so that we can show you these new candle holders that have come in. Doug, what do you love about them?
Yeah, a lot of new candle holders, metal and glass for everyday use, things that are going to be beautiful in your home or your customer's home all year round. We were just finished up down in the holiday area, and we talked about great Christmas or holiday season holders that white and on balance tended to look better in those holders.
Right.
When we move into some of the metal holders, my personal preference is I think amber looks quite nice. I'm going to make a quick little move here. So here we show white and amber color in a really pretty tree-lined metal candle holder. I'm just going to swap out this white one. But I think this amber really pops in these holders. One thing you maybe can't notice in the camera is these are lined or sprayed with a gold sort of leaf or a copper color. That copper color really reflects the light. Yeah, they're very pretty with that that coating
and that's
on the
something
inside.
a lot of people want. They want to reflect that light inside the candle holder. Any little extra little bit that we're going to have adds a little bit of value. And let's talk a little bit about these laser cut candle holders that we're bringing, because we're bringing in a lot of them, but the value is there. And so really retailers are looking for something that they can sell kind of quickly, have a good price point, but also they have the value for their customer.
Yep, exactly right. The metal laser cut candle holders on price point basis, really I'm amazed, even with supply chain and price increases that have happened in the last couple years that we all know about. These are still around $15 for a set.
That's great.
It's just a fantastic value, and as you can see, they're very pretty.
Beautiful.
Yep. And another thing to talk about, again, you have a customer who maybe bought this during the holiday season, maybe has a holiday themed or a white snowy sort of a candle holder that they own. When the season is over, they don't need to put away the Fia Flame with that holder. You have the opportunity to give them different holders for different seasons of the year. So you have an opportunity to upsell the customer with different candle holders.
So as you're talking to your retailers, you're explaining to them that you sell the Fia Flame in one vessel, but then you switch out and you start selling seasonally with upgrading and changing your look of a room just by changing your candle holder or your lantern.
Yep,
or
absolutely.
glass.
And the Fia Flame's LED, it's going to last for years. I'm not sure the total life, but it's going to last for years.
A long time.
And if the customer finds a candle holder that speaks to them later, they can just switch that out at home. And again, the price points aren't so high that that's prohibitive for them to do that.
Okay, so let's take a look at a different look, because we're looking at these in Modern Invitation, which are fantastic, but let's pull a few of these candle holders over, maybe that would go really well with the white.
Yeah, there's so many new ones this year. I'm thrilled to see how many there are. It's a couple other looks. Yep.
Well, here we are. We have changed out our shelf, and we have a lot of these new laser cut candle holders here. And again, we really need to talk about the fact that we have a different color on the inside of these. It was made purposely. And so some of these have a gold on the inside, some have the white on the inside, some have a silver in some of our glass. And so that is purposeful. It's no happy accident. It just actually is something that we created in order to be able to give you more dramatic effects.
Yep. And as you said before, we have so many new candle holders we've talked about. Metal stamped or laser cut, and we also have many new glass candle holders for the spring and summer season. So, like we said, for 2023, we have so many new options for you with the Fia. We can start with this really pretty floral glass candle holder. Right now, we have rice lights in there, which are very pretty, very subtle. I'm just going to show you the difference with our Fia Flame.
Oh wow!
Very
dramatic.
bright.
That's a big change. I mean, you just changed out one light inside of the same candle holder and just made that much of a difference.
Yep. Different different intensities of light, might be suitable for different moods. I'm just going to just dim this one down a little bit with the feature on the remote control. So this one actually I think looks a little bit nicer, a little bit dimmer. But the consumer can just choose what they need for what the environment that they
and
have
it's
is.
right at your fingertips. You've just got the remote,
Yep,
and it's
yep.
right there, easy for you to
So
do.
that's a really nice feature. So there's an example of glass, one of our new glass items. Now we've got several laser cut. This is a nice light gray piece. The white light looks very nice in that candle holder. And this one's kind of a light blue. These are both coated with white on the inside. It reflects the light and makes that pop very nicely.
And a perfect pair for the white Fia.
Yep. We're using white in these because they actually pair really well with this particular color palette. We talked about the amber versus the white. I'm just going to show you an example of that.
And I love that they're metal and the magnet just it's going to stay exactly where you put it.
So I think they're both nice in this holder. In this case, for an everyday, the white works very, very well. So again, I would encourage retailers to carry some of both. For my preference, or for people that are buying up in the upper Midwest, I tend to sell more amber in the spring and summer, and I tend to sell a lot more white during the holiday season, just based on how they pair well with the vessels.
I think the message that we're getting here is that Fia Flame's here to stay. Is something that is the retailer's friend. If you do it right, you bring it in, you talk to your customers, it brings them back to your store. They're coming back every few months just to pick up another piece that they can add with their collection at home.
Yep. So I'm going to move this one over to this nice. We have a white, again, metal. Price points are very good on the metal lanterns. This one happens to be lined with that gold, and I think it reflects the amber color really, really nicely in that piece. And then finally, I'm just going to move this to the front. Here's another glass piece. This one actually isn't new this year, but it's one of my favorites. It's kind of a gunmetal blue with the see-through. Looks very, very nice with the white Fia. One of my favorites, and continues to be in the line.
And we have it in modern invitation because of the metallic look that you have that's shining off on the inside of it, not on the outside, and that's a little bit different too.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Doug, very much for spending some time with us here in the Melrose showroom, talking about Fia Flame, talking about all of the things that you can do as a retailer to bring that in and to help your customers with it in the next season.
Yeah, thanks, Dan.